We're in. Justin, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going, man? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's this is going to be nice because I don't know anything about you other than I liked your Instagram page.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd give you a holler and see if you were interested in coming out. And so tell me a little bit about the photography.
Yeah, so I've been shooting for almost 5 years now, and I just kind of do a little bit of everything. People are like, what kind of photography do you shoot? I pretty much shoot whatever comes up, you know.
Yeah.
But I get into weddings, senior photos like that to keep the business rolling.
Yeah.
But I do a lot of nature photography too, especially when traveling.
Sure.
I shoot with the GoPro and everything too. So.
And the skylines of Cleveland are pretty amazing. And,
yeah. Definitely.
So give them your Instagram page real quick. Maybe we can get you some.
Yeah, it's Albaugh photo. That'd be J, B as in boy, AUGH photo.
Really cool Instagram page. I dig it a lot. So are you from Cleveland originally?
I am, yeah.
So how did you get? So I'm I cannot surf at all. When we were kids, my brother and I spent a lot of time like boogie boarding and that kind of stuff. But being here from Cleveland, how does one get into surfing?
You know what? It actually started like at the end of high school. My family and we used to always go down to North Carolina, Outer Banks.
That's where we were doing it.
Virginia Beach.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of East Coast and New Jersey as well. So I kind of just, it was something that I really wanted to pick up because I was always into sports. I'm athletic, so, I love the water. So I got into that, and I kind of just learned. Nobody really taught me. I just went out there and got my ass kicked.
Yeah, right. And now I noticed Topsail Beach down there near North Carolina seems to be like the place to go.
Yeah, I've actually surfed there a few times. I have a stepsister, some family down in Wrightsville.
Oh yeah.
And so I'll go down there. I'll hit that like once a year. It's a nice beach down there. So
we were gonna do. They have like surf camps down there, and I wanted to take Aaron and my son down there to learn how to do it. Because like I said, I've been. The coolest thing about getting we got a smart TV recently. We didn't have any TV before, but we bought a smart TV.
Yeah.
And there's like a surf channel on there, so I just sit there and just watch it and just kind of zone out. And it's so much fun to just. I wish I had those kind of skills that I could get up on a board like that. It's
you can do it.
Impressive.
It takes for some people it takes a little bit longer. Have you ever skateboarded or snowboarded?
So I told my wife I'm picking up skateboarding this summer, and she says I'm too big to do it. But I think if I got something like the size of this desk, with wheels on it, it's actually something I want to do this summer and play with. I have a lot of free time, so
there's also the longboards too. It's like made for bigger guys and stuff too. It's really cool. A lot of them have springs in them. And you can work on carving. It's not like your traditional skateboard.
Right.
But, those are really fun. I have a few of those, too.
I definitely have to check that out. I might have to shoot you a couple texts, and you can point me in the right direction as to what I should be getting. Because some of them, you go to Target or something, and they're about as long as this keyboard. They're not going to... Yeah. It's not going to work real well. Do you travel a lot, like, to surf and go places?
Yeah, I usually take a couple of trips a year. We went to Costa Rica.
I've heard that's good, too.
Yeah, last winter, went there with a few buddies, and it's beautiful down there. But, yeah, the surf's great. I go to the West Coast a lot. I have a cousin who lives in Santa Monica.
Okay.
So I hit there like 2 times a year, kind of like Southern California, San Diego area.
How much different is it going from East Coast to West Coast? I would assume there's a big difference in wave size and selection.
Yeah, it seems a little more consistent out west, obviously. If you go out to anywhere on the East Coast, like in July or August, it might be pretty flat for a while.
Right.
Until hurricane season.
Yeah.
It's best to go to Outer Banks and everything like around October, September.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
that's we used to go down. It was like every summer we would go down there, and we'd be up near Whalehead and Duck, so up on the northern part of the islands up there.
Right.
The wild horses, patrolling the beaches. Back then they just let them roam. They have these herds for the people who don't know, they have like herds. They used to have big herds of wild horses that would just roam the beaches, and now I think they have them penned up north higher. but it looks like they still are hitting the beaches and letting them roam some up there.
That's really cool. I seen a little bit of that in Costa Rica as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was so cool. I've never horseback ridden before. So
yeah.
I'd love to do that sometime.
You never been on a horse at all?
No, I've never been on a horse.
Yeah.
Maybe when I was younger, but like nothing.
Yeah, when I was younger, we were going to go, I can't remember where we travel all the time. I can't remember where we were at, and my wife was all excited to go, and at the time I was probably 275, 265, something like that, and she did the Google search, and they said I was too heavy to get on the horse. And I'm like,
what are you at now?
Just weighed myself 219 this morning.
219.
So yeah. So I've been getting into jiu-jitsu and things like that. So I've dropped the body weight and trying to get healthier and more active other than just weightlifting.
Right.
So, what do you do like for a living? Like what?
I do photography.
Okay.
So I'm spinning my wheels.
So not just a hobby.
Yeah.
You're getting into it.
Yeah. I work full time actually for the Ganley companies.
Oh, okay.
So I've worked for a few stores with them.
Yeah.
And then I have my own side business as well.
Living in Cleveland?
Yeah.
Okay.
I live in Lakewood.
Oh, okay.
So yep.
Lakewood's a cool town. There's Lakewood has all the cool bars and restaurants and everything but it's still, you still get that west side, not quite suburbs, but it's a little bit of best of both worlds out there.
Yeah, and you're not too far from, for me, for Edgewater and for downtown West 25th, that whole area.
What was it, East 4th? Is that the...
Yeah, there's the East 4th Corner Alley, which
I love
is really
that place,
cool.
yeah.
If you're into comedy, there's Pickwick and Frolics.
I think Brendan Schaub is there tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I saw a thing on Facebook. I think it's tonight, but I've never been in there. We go down to the Society Lounge, something like that.
Yeah, I heard that's a really cool bar.
It is. You go downstairs and it's all kind of like a speakeasy themed place. Drinks are super expensive, but you're paying for the atmosphere. And they usually have like lounge singers in there, and the mixologists are pretty fun to watch, and you get a little bit of a show with your drinks. But Cleveland's really coming around. When I was a kid, there was nothing there. It was just in shambles, and now you're starting to get cool little places. I mean, you had the Flats, but the Flats was kind of like...
That's what I heard. It was like really big in the 90s, like when I was little.
Yeah.
Kind of went away and just started coming back. So.
Yeah, the Flats were big, but they were almost like... it was almost like a big fraternity party, It was just drunk people falling in the river, and, every bar had these big giant gorillas bouncing for them, and it was...
Wow.
It wasn't, you go down to East 4th, and there's not anything like that. It's a little bit more laid-back atmosphere.
Right. Have you always been out here on the west side?
Yeah,
Did you grow up out here?
I grew up in Amherst, which you drove through on the way through here. I always tell people... the best thing about getting to be a pro athlete was I got to see things other than my hometown. I got to travel all over North America.
Yeah, it does give you great opportunities. So.
To talk to people who aren't, didn't grow up with each other. And, it's... Yeah. Do you said you take a couple trips a year. I mean, what's some of the cool places you've been to, or where do you like to go?
For surfing or just in general?
Just in general.
Well, so I actually came back from Chicago this weekend. One of my good friends moved there about a year ago, so I'll go up there. It's a pretty short drive.
Yeah, it's an easy trip.
But we went and saw Tom Segura last weekend.
He's the best, man. Do you listen to your mom's house?
Yeah, I do.
God, that's
and
so
Joe
funny.
Rogan.
Yeah. Your mom's house is just oh my God. I just started getting into that. And they had Joey Diaz on the other day.
Yeah.
And it was Joey Diaz. Did you listen to that one with him?
You know what? My buddy was telling me about it. He's like, you have to listen to it. So I still have to catch that one.
It was, he just gets me rolling. He's so disgusting. And
right.
Oh, it was horrible. But people out there, if you haven't listened to Your Mom's House, and then because of that show, they turned me on to Garth Brooks' Instagram page.
Really?
Have you ever looked at that?
I've never checked it out.
Oh my
never thought
God.
of it.
So you go on his Instagram page, and for those out there, Garth Brooks is the funniest guy on Instagram, and he has no idea he's funny.
Really?
So he has no idea how to use social media at all.
Yeah.
But he obviously has somebody coaching him. So he throws out all these stupid little, like 20-second videos of him trying to be really cool. And he calls himself Mr. Yearwood because he's Trisha Yearwood's husband. So he'll hashtag Mr. Yearwood. But then anything he posts, all the comments are just your mom's house listeners, like asking him where he hides the bodies and just throwing out all these show, shticks that they do on the show. And then every once in a while you get a real Garth Brooks fan on there who gets all mad and wants to know, what are you talking about? Where do you hide the bodies? And it's just so funny. And I don't know, I can't imagine Garth Brooks even reads the comments, but the best, if you ever want to laugh, just go to Garth Brooks' Instagram page and click on any one of the pictures, and it's hysterical. I love that show so much. But
that follow for sure.
Yeah. We're going to Chicago. We're going in 3 weeks to see Brian Cox.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Brian Cox? He's the astrophysicist. He's been on Rogan a few times.
Okay.
He does like a stage show where they have a 30-foot by 30-foot LCD screen behind him. Okay. And he talks about the birth of the universe while you're like going through space and everything. And
so like some who's that other guy? Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, yeah.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, I guess so. The way he made it sounded pretty incredible.
I'm really interested in all that. So yeah.
We were just down in Florida, right on the ocean, and we were out sitting on these deck chairs looking up at the sky over the ocean, and it drove me nuts because it was just me and my wife hanging out, and then there's on the other chairs down the thing, there's all these people just sitting there looking at their cell phones the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you looking at this starscape above you where, and everyone's just paying attention to their phones? And but listening to people like Brian Cox and Neil deGrasse Tyson will blow your mind.
Oh yeah.
You start rolling over infinity in your head, and
makes you question a lot of things.
Right? Yeah, it's you see all these ancient cultures who, map their layout of their buildings and megalithic structures based on what they were seeing in the sky at that time,
which is insane.
Yeah. He's Rogan's going to have Graham Hancock on this week, and have you ever listened to him or read any of his books?
No. What's his profession?
He's an ex-journalist, but he investigates things like the pyramids and Göbekli Tepe, and he's one of the people who thinks that the Sphinx and the pyramids are much, much older than what archaeology is saying they are.
I've heard of that, and that there was kind of a theory that there was like an older civilization.
Yeah.
That we don't know about.
Right.
Yeah.
And the way he first got into it was a guy by the name of Robert Schoch went down there. It was Anthony West was doing some research on the pyramids and noticed these weird lines on the inside of the enclosure around the Sphinx. And he didn't know what they were, so they call in this Robert Schoch, who was, I think, either Boston College or Boston University. I think it was Boston University. He was a geologist for them. And they bring him out, and he does some research on it, and he finds out that it's water erosion from rainfall. And there hadn't been that kind of rainfall in that area of the world for like 20,000 years.
Wow.
So in order for it to have had that kind of erosion, it would have been 20,000 years plus enough time for all that rainfall to wear it down. So that's how their whole theory started to form. And then the big argument was, well, there's no other civilizations that are this old, so why would we think that this is older? And then they found that Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, which is something like 12,000 BC. So now you've got this other megalithic structure that is significantly older than what they thought the pyramids were. So it's kind of turning everything on its ear. But the same weekend we're in to see Brian Cox, Graham Hancock's going to be in town. I'm trying to go get the wife to go see her, but I think we have to go to dinner with her parents instead. So it would be a very educational weekend.
Yeah, that'd be really fun to go to.
Yeah.
Where was that going to be in Chicago? Do you know? Like a theater or
Yeah,
something?
it's in a big theater, and I don't remember. My wife's from Iowa, so she's more familiar with Chicago than I am. That I used to be where they would go, but it's some big theater in Chicago, and then the Graham Hancock one is in like some cathedral, some church, and it's like a book signing and talk out there. It's the second weekend, or I think it's the second weekend in May we're going, but should be interesting. Are you, getting back to surfing, are you surfing Lake Erie?
Yeah, so there is a scene, and not a lot of people know about it. I mean, everybody here are always like dumbfounded when they find out that there's waves on the lake.
Yeah.
But you just have to look out there. Sometimes when we get northeast or northwest winds, it has to be coming from the north because we don't have tides like the ocean.
Right.
It's all wind based. We actually have some waves out there today.
It's ridiculous out there today.
Yeah. So I mean, it's supposed to get like waist to shoulder high, I think.
Yeah.
3 to 5 or something. But yeah, we get some waves.
We live right on the lake, so you go. I went out this morning. I actually took a video. I don't know what the hell my phone is, but we took a video this morning when I went out before I came in here. I had an earlier podcast, and you could just hear it roaring. Yeah. I mean, it's super impressive, and people have no concept of Lake Erie.
Yeah.
Who don't live here.
Yeah.
We have a competition every year on the lake, and at this little park on the lake, and I tell people, oh, it's a great view of Lake Erie, and all these people come from like Kentucky or Tennessee, and they come, and they had no idea that, like, that's not a lake, that's an ocean. I'm like, no, you can get across it in an hour or two, but they have no concept of what it is, how big it is, and how deep. And
I just actually kind of started surfing the lake like only in the past 2 years or so. I'm kind of like new with it, because I didn't even know there was a surfing community around. But I met a bunch of people from the stand-up paddle group that I was in.
I just started doing that. I love that too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a great shop in Rocky River called Nalu. And it's a big community of stand-up paddlers. And so we go out all the time, and most of them surf as well. But a lot of people, they think because it's a lake, they underestimate the currents are so strong. Sometimes it's worse than an ocean. It's like a wash machine. Yeah. And it could get really dangerous. I mean, people drown out there all the time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I remember being a kid and them having to talk to you about, getting sucked out and having to swim against, sideways so you don't get sucked out. And not to mention that, it's shallow, then it's deep, then it's shallow, then it's deep, and you never know what's coming. And first time I knew that there was a surf scene in Lake Erie was a couple years ago. I'm driving down Lake Road in the middle of winter, and here's this crazy bastard, full wetsuit, beard longer than mine, with icicles just hanging off it, with the board under his arm, walking. And there's not even, I know where he was going, there's not even a beach there. So he was like coming right off the rocks and surfing.
Yeah.
That takes some balls.
It does. And I mean, it gets really cold in the winter too. So,
yeah.
I mean,
what's I noticed that you've got some affiliation with Cleveland Surf Company.
Yeah.
What's the story with them?
You know what? They're pretty new, and they actually reached out to me on Instagram. They're just a new clothing line company. Yeah. But they have some really cool designs and shirts.
Yeah.
And, everything out there. I think they're going to start taking off over this summer.
I'm going to get them. I got to get a hold of them and get them on the show, because they do have some really cool designs, and it's a good. I love the name, and every time you say it to somebody, they're like, Cleveland Surf. What are you talking about? And I think I actually found you through their Instagram page. So
yeah, they actually reached out to me and a few of my other friends who surf around the area, and we're kind of ambassadors. Mm-hmm. So,
well, good. Maybe you can hook us up, and we'll get them
I can reach out to them and connect you with them. I'd like to hear more about them too, because it's pretty new. So,
yeah, that'd be great, and we'll hook that up afterwards. But and where are you stand up paddleboarding? Are you just on the lake? Are you hitting the rivers too around here?
Yeah, we hit the rivers. Even downtown, right in the Cuyahoga River, Berwyn's Wharf. We go through where like the Nautica music venue is, and then the flats, and then we hit out to the lake, and then there's Rocky River Reservation. So yeah, I go through rivers and ocean and lakes, but what I kind of wanted to get into, my one friend Edie is into whitewater stand-up paddling.
Oh man.
Yeah, it seems pretty intense.
Yeah.
But I don't have the right board right now. You need something that's beat up a little thicker.
Right.
And it's really hard to rent those kind of things. So I'm going to see if somebody has something to lend over to me.
Where do they go? Like West Virginia and stuff?
They go to West Virginia, PA.
Yeah.
I know Ohio Pile. I've been whitewater rafting there a few times.
Right.
But yeah, they go over there quite a bit.
We went here in the Vermilion River, which is basically, I mean, unless it's just insane weather, it could not be smoother, you know?
Yeah.
But for me, getting up on a board is, I must have fell 12 times getting up there the first time. And the guy said that that I needed a larger board than what they had. But because it made it so, my core was just tense the whole time because any movement I had got me swinging.
Okay.
But, we were with some kids who jump on those things like it's a garage door, they could run around on them. And I think it's a great way to see the lakes and rivers, and it's so quiet and peaceful, and you get into that repetitive motion of just paddling, and it's a very zen-like experience to get to travel the rivers that way, and especially all the ones we have around here. I haven't been out on the lake though. That might be beyond my skill level.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of flat days in the summer too, where it's pretty glassy. It's a good time to start out too.
Yeah.
But you get used to it, and like you said, I mean, like you're a bigger guy, so maybe you're not getting the right board,
right?
The right volume kind of board. But they're out. I mean, you probably need like an 11-footer.
Yeah.
For stand-up paddling, but.
To go out and find one of my own. Use, like I said, we live right on the lake, so I mean it's right there available to us, and we live in this community of 60-plus-year-old people. So it's got this private beach, but nobody uses it.
Oh yeah.
So I go down there and I'm like all by myself all the time.
What beach is out this way?
So it's really weird. You have Lakeshore Beach in Lorain.
Yeah.
Which used to be, I used to call it Smuggler's Cove because it was just, it was not a good neighborhood. It was not a good area. But they've really cleaned it up and made it a nice beach. They have a lot of volleyball tournaments down there.
Yeah.
And then after that, you have lots of private beaches. Like you could come to my house and be like a guest and use our beach, but they don't let it open to the public.
Gotcha.
And then once you get into Vermilion has a small public beach, and then Sherrod Park has a small public beach, but nothing. The biggest one around here is Lakeview Beach in Lorain.
Okay.
And then I know they have a lot of stand-up paddle boarders out there. Like I said, a lot of volleyball tournaments and stuff like that. They've got a pretty sizable. I don't know if you get into volleyball at all, but they have pretty sizable leagues out there.
Yeah, I love beach volleyball.
My wife was huge into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She played in high school and.
So I don't think she played much in high school. She was a basketball player and then did some track. She got into it when she was living in Milwaukee, and they have a huge scene up there.
Okay.
Like when we first started dating, she was living in Milwaukee, and I would just go out and watch. And these people are as fanatical as any sport I've ever seen in my life, you know. And like she would play for 8-9 hours.
Jeez.
Just do these pickup games and tournaments, and but since she's been here, she really hasn't found a league that she really digs. And when we started dating, she was in her early 30s, and now she's 40. So it's kind of, you don't want to. I know how it is as an athlete. I don't want to be running around with 20-year-old kids who are just going to be beating the shit out of me all day. So. Yeah. I told her she needs to start like a masters league or something for.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Definitely. Where'd you go to school out here?
College or
either one.
Yeah,
start with high school.
I went to Trinity High School in Garfield.
Garfield, okay. And you graduated and went to?
Yeah, I graduated in 2008. I went to Virginia Marty College of Art and Design. That's in Lakewood.
Studying photography?
Yep.
Okay.
That was video production as well.
Okay.
So I do work on a little bit of video and film shoots as well. We just actually had a short in the Cleveland International Film Fest.
Really?
Yeah.
So we just had a guy on this morning talking about, what was the name of yours?
My Skin is Gray.
Okay. What was that about?
It was kind of like a psychological thriller, horror movie.
Shit. Yeah, we had a guy in this morning who had just gone to the film festival and saw some stuff he really enjoyed. But
yeah, I never get enough time because of like work. I mean, it's just a constant. They have screenings all day and all night for 2 weeks straight.
Yeah.
So you kind of miss some of the screenings that you really want to see during the day, like on a Tuesday sometimes.
Right.
It's really great if you ever get the chance. Have you ever been down
I
there?
never even knew there was a Cleveland Film Festival.
Yeah, and it's great because there's films from all over the world, so you get to see a lot of great talent from everywhere.
There's so much cool stuff going on in Cleveland, and the thing about it is, it's when you're out here on the west side, it's kind of hard to find where you're supposed to look to find the stuff. It's always like, oh my God, this person's here tomorrow night, and you never have any kind of notice that it's coming. Yeah,
no. I think the Scene magazine kind of helps me sometimes.
Is that still around? Is it on the internet now, or do they still have the paper?
They still have paper. Like, it's everywhere. Like, if you go to a coffee shop or a restaurant, they're out there sitting around for free. You can pick them up.
Right. Yeah, I remember that, but I didn't know if they had, and that was years ago. I used to see that.
Yeah.
We saw Colin Hay, who used to be the lead singer. I don't know if you know Colin Hay. He was the lead singer for Men at Work back in the 80s, and he played at this big cathedral in downtown Cleveland, right across the street from Cleveland State University. And it was an amazing show. And I mean, they were selling alcohol in the cathedral, and
that's sweet.
It was really cool. And he keeps, he's every time he would curse, he would kind of do one of these, because he's right for these big stained glass windows and everything. And amazing show, but
yeah, I love concert venues that are like kind of. Like in weird and like different different spaces. So that's really cool. I was actually in a band for 7 years, so I'm a musician as well.
What kind of music?
I was playing punk bands and alternative bands, but we did a little stint on the Warped Tour as well.
No shit.
Played with the Offspring and
little Black Flag type stuff, or is that before your time?
We weren't that heavy.
Right.
I would say like kind of pop punk too. We were like Blink 182.
Yeah.
But I
have you heard that guy talk lately? The guy,
Tom DeLonge?
Yeah,
he's crazy.
What a fucking psycho he is, man. Unless he's completely truthful, and then the whole world will be turned upside down.
Sometimes I'm really into like all that conspiracy theory, like with extraterrestrials and UFOs, and I mean, sometimes I have to question him. Like, I think he's crazy. I'm starting to listen to him,
right?
But I get hooked on it. It's interesting.
He was on Rogan, and it was the craziest interview I ever heard.
Right, and you don't know if he's like full of crap or if
He's saying that the government is coming to him for help. It's like, what are you talking about? You're the lead singer for Blink 182, aren't you? Right. And then they had the drummer on, Travis
Barker.
Yeah, and they asked him about it. He was just like, "That's what he says." I don't know if what he's talking about, but yeah. Yeah, that was a crazy interview. But if you're into that stuff, check out Graham Hancock, because his stuff is amazing. You can just find him on YouTube and stuff, and he has talks. And
does he have a podcast as well?
He doesn't have a podcast of his own, but if you go to iTunes and put his name in, he's been on every podcast you can imagine. He's been on Rogan a bunch of times. Matter of fact, he's going to be on Rogan this week, I think.
Okay, I'll have to catch that.
Yeah, he just wrote a book. I can't remember the name of it, but I haven't read it yet because it just came out. But it was looking at North America before Columbus arrived, and the mound builders and stuff like that. Wow. We had a guy on the show, Jason Jarrell, and Jason lives right next to the Adena Mountains in West Virginia. Mm-hmm. I went down there and talked to him. He's a really neat dude. He lives in this very minimal apartment, and you go in, and they have no furniture. except for one kitchen table with these two little chairs, and but it's just books from floor to ceiling, and his computer, and him and his wife live this very secluded Spartan lifestyle. But that's his whole thing is these Adena mounds and who built them and why they built them, and but Jason Jarrell's another character like that who is just, he's either crazy or he'll set the world on its ear, not quite as wacky as
I get lost in that stuff. So
yeah. You do like the Kennedy assassination too, or is it mostly like the aliens and?
No, I'm big into conspiracy theories like that
in general.
Well, so, but what's that? Jason, the guy that you said,
Jason Jarrell.
Does he have kind of like any kind of social media or anything?
Oh yeah, he's on Facebook. Yeah. I think I follow him just on Facebook.
Okay.
But he's big into these giant skeletons they pulled out of these mounds.
Yeah, that they think were giants.
Yeah. Kind of so he wrote this book called Ages of Giants. And it's the majority of it is newspaper accounts of them talking about these skeletons that they found.
Right.
Now, I talked to another guy from the Cleveland Museum of Natural History who says that he thinks that a lot of it is when they find the skeletons, because the earth settles, it kind of pushes them out. So they find a skeleton that might be 6 feet tall, but it's spread out to 8 feet tall.
Gotcha. So,
but the stuff in the book talks about skulls that were gigantic, and so I don't know. It just, if you go just on the stuff that he has in his book from these newspaper accounts, it's pretty interesting and pretty compelling information. But
yeah, there's a really interesting article I ran across about a week or two ago. Scientists actually found out in Thailand somewhere there's these like cave dwellers. They lived in a couple caves. They found hundreds of skeletons and different artifacts now of like a civilization that were human beings that were under like 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
So they're looking. I have to look more into that, but I mean that looks really interesting too.
I haven't heard about it there, but I've heard about them like in like New I think it was maybe it was the Philippines or New Zealand or something. But I've heard of that. They real life hobbit sized people.
Yeah.
Well, I talked to Jason, and he's I said, it seems to me, because they keep finding these different I don't know if they're different species of human or whatever they are, but I said, it seems to me like there was a time where possibly when you went around the globe, you had something like Lord of the Rings, where you had all these different sizes and species of beings, walking around, and he said that's exactly the way I see it. So
kind of questions everything about like human evolution and everything. So
that's I think when you look at history in general, and they keep finding more and more stuff, and things seem to get older and older as we go, it makes me question all the stuff I learned in high school and in college, and I think you have these kind of maverick, not exactly archaeologists, but more like journalists who are interested.
Yeah.
And they are really good at researching and finding things out and talking to people. And it seems to be that there's a lot more out there than we know of. And it irritates me that we don't know more and that it's not accepted more.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's kind of like bypass. It's not important with everything else happening in the world right now. We're not putting, a lot of attention into that.
Yeah, and you have old stories and things where, I seem to, I'm under the impression that, stories, these kinds of stories don't just pop up out of thin air, that you see in a lot. Like the flood myth is one thing that Graham Hancock talks about a lot, and how every ancient civilization has a flood myth that talks about this giant flood that wiped out the world and only a few survivors were left. And he talks about it as, there was a great podcast with him and Randall Carlson. Randall Carlson is geologist who has studied these glacier movements across North America, and their theory is that there was a meteor impact, I think it was 12,000 years ago, that sent us back. We were coming out of an ice age. The impact hit, and it sent us back into an ice age, a mini one. And
yeah, I heard of that.
Yeah, and he I think it was called the Clovis Comet Impact Theory, and their thing was that that's the reason why we had a mass extinction of mammoth and saber-toothed tiger and all that stuff, and that they thought that that's where, like, the pyramids, when they were built, were shortly after that, surviving members of this civilization that was moving around. So who knows, but all that stuff is so interesting to me.
Yeah, and another interesting topic I came across too is now they're trying to clone and bring back mammoths as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that works out.
I gotta think that we're super close to that stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
I saw they were reanimating pig brains the other day.
Yeah.
10-hour-old pig. The pigs have been dead for 10 hours, and they're reanimating their brain cells.
It's crazy, scary stuff.
That's my wife asked me, so are you worried about the zombie apocalypse? I'm like, no, I'm 45 years old. I'm hoping they can reanimate my brain cells at some point,
Yeah, I mean, it could be used for great things.
Yeah. Well, that's it's always fun to watch. But check out, if you can find Graham Hancock on the internet, check him out. He's pretty intense and definitely worth listening to. But so, are you going to getting surfing anytime soon, or?
Yeah, I'm hoping. My schedule's been so busy, especially with me out of town.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Are you just back from California?
No, last time I was out there was like October.
I saw a video
right around Halloween.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm probably gonna head back out there soon.
Yeah.
My cousin's coming back in town to get married, so
that always puts a wrench in the monkey works.
Yeah.
You gotta go deal with that stuff.
Right. But yeah, hoping to get out there again soon.
Good. Well, we can wrap this up, and anything you want to promote while we're on the show. We did your Instagram page, but if anybody needs photos or...
Yeah, definitely. You can check me out at justinalbaugh.com as well. You can book a shoot with me there, or send me an email at justin.albaugh@gmail.com.
And you do like the... I noticed that some of your work was like you have girls modeling and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm sure that...
Yeah, I definitely I shoot models as well. I could do headshots for professional settings as well.
Yeah.
But there's a studio downtown called Glow Studios that's easy to go in there and book. So
book the rooms and everything.
Yep.
You have the photo shoots there. That's cool. All right. Well, we're going to wrap this up. And it's been great having you on the show. We look forward to... We'll do it again sometime. And we'll talk surfing. And hopefully I can get up on a board. I got to... I'll send you some... when I start looking for a skateboard, well, maybe I'll get your opinion on it.
Yeah, I could definitely send you over a few companies.
Yeah, there you go.
Online, so.
Awesome. All right. Justin, thanks for coming on the show. This has been The Refined Savage. See ya.
See ya.